Who is it?
It's me, the mainstream media.
Who?
Your friend. I came to give you the good news.
Oh yeah? What's the good news?
The bad news. Come on, open the door. We need you in fear. Fear.
Get off my doorstep.
Open the door.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Rebellious Voz. And this is a video I wanted to do for quite some time regarding the capital city of Lebanon, Beirut. Remember that explosion? So sudden, so mysterious, so coincidental. If you do a quick wiki search, you'll find that Lebanon is a service-oriented economy. You'll find also that the major economic sectors are metal products, banking, agriculture, chemicals, and transport equipment. However, the main sectors of growth are tourism and banking. Who would have ever thought that the banking cartel was also around? Oh, they're around. Another interesting point is that there are no restrictions on foreign exchange or capital movement. So money can move as freely as a fish and as free as a bird. Anyway, Lebanon is self-sufficient on growing its own fruits, almost self-sufficient on vegetables. However, it is deficient on cereal and grains. Well, what happened during the blast? Weren't some silos taken out full of grain? So coincidental. Anyway, this is a country that the 1% richest people receive a quarter of the national income, while the bottom 50% receive only 10% of the national income. Lebanon has been in an economic crisis for a number of years. And this is due to many reasons, but one of them, corruption, because there is banking secrecy. But hold on, they're working on it. Anyway, another interesting point is that the US dollar in Lebanon on the black market is worth 6,000 Lebanese pounds. However, it's gone up. Now it's worth 7,600 Lebanese pounds. Just think about that. There is also a bread price control. How much do you think that is? $1 US equals 900 grams of Lebanese bread. Imagine that. In a country that 1% of the richest people receive a quarter of the national income.
Yep.
So after the explosion, did anyone step up? Well, the central bank stepped up. The mainstream media shared that. And they said that the central bank, which is controlled by who? Oh yeah, these guys, told other banks to make cheap dollar loans to those hit by the Beirut blast. What did they do? So they decided to provide no interest loans that would be repaid over 5 years. However, this is a country that's in economic crisis. Many people lost their homes, they lost their livelihoods, their way of life. How the heck are they gonna repay that within 5 years? I tell you, these banksters making a profit, making a killing on people's misery. Another article came out, this one by NPR, that we will go over because I think it's very interesting. It says, after the Beirut blast, Lebanon sees a spike in COVID's infections. Infections, a word meant to give you fear. To put fear in the heart of mice, because men stand strong. So the article continues and says that cases increased by 220%. Was there a 220% increase in testing with that PCR? I wonder. So the article also tries to justify the response by the officials and says that Lebanon managed to keep a low case rate by imposing stay-at-home orders and a well-enforced curfew, which these were lifted and then reimposed several times. And Lebanon's Ministry of Public Health has registered 18,375 cases since the start of the scamdemic and puts the death toll at 172. Now, if you divided the deaths by the cases, you'd get a 0.00936 death rate, or a percentage of 0.936%. What does this mean? It means that there is a 99% survival rate against this COVID-19. Anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, with this blast, a lot of people became homeless. However, there was a spike in cases. So the Lebanese authorities responded by trying to impose a new lockdown in the second half of August. The problem is that there's 300,000 people or more that are now homeless, so it's hard to impose someone to stay home if they are homeless. However, Lebanon demonstrates a lesson to the world and to the USSA, as the Dollar Vigilante says. So government officials loosened the restrictions after owners of restaurants, cafes, and nightclubs refused to abide by them. They shortened the curfew, allowing people to leave their homes after 6 p.m. and ruled that most businesses, including restaurants, could reopen at 50% capacity. That's right, people. They push back. And if people keep pushing back, they'll stick their mandates up you know where, and we'll be right back to normal. In these hard times, the devil is always around and near. International donors sought to help ease the crisis. And not in the manner that you think. Nope, the World Hoax Organization sent 25 tons of protective equipment, and French President Macron, who visited Lebanon, announced that he'd give $8 million in assistance for Rafik Hariri University Hospital, the main public health institution caring for the COVID's patients. That's right, public health institution. Yep, the public health, the ones that are now in charge of when we get back our freedom and liberty. And after an $8 million donation, the head of the hospital, Firas Abiad, Firas, saying exactly what they want you to do. Fear us, fear them. I laugh at you, Firas. What did he say? He took to Twitter and said,
"Lockdowns contain the virus, but puts the pressure on businesses."
He wrote,
"A strategy with clear trade-offs based on science and collective before the personal interests, endorsed by all, is needed. Then all have to comply or else."
Or else. Otherwise, it will be a harsh winter.
Do you realize what he just did? He made an active threat on Twitter. Or else it'll be a harsh winter. We are to come together and obey and make those that think for themselves obey, or it will be a very harsh winter. They already took out the silos, didn't they? That's an active attack on the food supply, just as is happening everywhere else. If it weren't laughable enough, there was another article by Geo News that reported that Beirut public angered after fire erupts in port 1 month after deadly explosion. That's right, 1 month later. So fire crews used cranes to hose down the last smoldering embers of fire that swept through the already damaged warehouses on Thursday. So the fire broke out on Thursday afternoon as workers were carrying out repair work on some of the warehouses still standing after last month's explosion. How did the fire start? Here it goes. So sparks from a power saw being used in the repairs were likely the cause of the blaze. The Red Cross said one of the warehouses contained precious food, aid for tens of thousands of needy families in Lebanon and neighboring Syria. Like I said, an attack on the food supply. Due to the rubble present and the danger involved, it is not possible to confirm the levels of loss incurred at this time. The funny thing is that an operations director says, the fire is very weak. There's just one area we're still dealing with. It's nothing. A criminology researcher though, Omar Nashabi, asked how fire could erupt in an area that should have been a protected crime scene. Where's the judiciary? Where's the state? Where's the responsibility? He asked. Very good questions. So, as everything always goes, they looked at the company that was responsible for managing the warehouse, and the BCC Logistics denied any responsibilities and called for a full investigation. The article goes on to mention, Lebanon has launched a probe into last month's blast of one of the biggest non-nuclear explosions ever and arrested 25 subjects so far. Among them are top port and custom officials, Syrian workers who allegedly carried out welding hours before the explosion, and Lebanon has rejected an international investigation, but its probe is being aided by foreign experts. Who might that be? However, in crazy times and times of need, I'm always surprised by the human spirit. It always comes through, and as it should. The community should come together to help one another. There's a guy named Rabi mentioned in this article, and he says something very important. It's time to work hand in hand to find solutions for our community. That's right. Take charge of your community. Give back to your community. Sow seeds of love, spread kindness, and in giving, you will get back. As a community, we can triumph. I know it's very late now. That explosion happened quite a while ago. But don't take those loans from the banking cartel. If they already own a good part of your country, don't let them own one more part of it. And especially your things, your homes, your communities. Help one another in some manner. Help others rebuild while they help you rebuild as well. It'd be such a shame to lose everything for a virus that has a 99% survival rate and your freedom as well. So, brothers of Lebanon and everybody else, study, read, and draw your own conclusion. We are all brothers, human beings. Look out for one another. Thank you.